Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Democrats might have a major problem. Kamala Harris appearing legitimately drunk on many of these clips. I'm not just saying that. I mean, you can see the clips for yourself. She's either drunk or there's something really wrong going on with like 5 or 6 of these clips. And you've got high-level police officers saying that, they've seen a recent clip of her, it was like Wisconsin or something, and she would be charged with a DUI. They say they've seen so many drunk people. She's got all the mannerisms, the body language, the speech patterns, and she'll do this thing. Remember the clip with her and Biden on the tarmac at the airport, and Biden just got the dead-eye look, and she's like repeating herself, saying same words in back-to-back sentences. It's just all a total mess. But you do have this thread talking, and we're just going to go through these, and I guess I'll just react to them and see really what's going on here.
And I just wanted to come by and say hello. You guys are the reason I do what I do. And I just love your competitive spirit. I love how you guys are just working at it. You are ready to be a team, and you're ready to compete. And I just got.
Is she drunk?
So proud. How you guys doing?
Watch her arm.
Just very strange. This one's even worse. I've seen this one.
When we think about the strength of our democracy,
I mean, look at her.
I think that there's a duality to the nature of democracy. When it's intact, it's so strong in terms of what it does to uphold and protect individual rights and freedoms. So strong in its nature. And it's very fragile.
Oh my God.
It will only be as strong as our willingness to fight.
I mean, that at the end there is just...
I think it is important to look at folks like Haley and Kelly and also say we're going to take note of the fact that during the pandemic, over 2 million people, 2 million women people became unemployed.
Women people. Oh, here's another one with Biden. This is vintage Biden.
Extraordinary President Joe Biden. And he's going to speak
she's
in
sweating.
a minute, but there's a lot of love. And he's going to speak in a minute, but...
Look at her eyes.
He's going to speak in a minute, but...
I mean, they're seriously...
Woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker.
Yeah, I don't think she was drunk at that one, but that was another one. So just, I mean, listen, she's either at least tipsy or there's something serious wrong. There's something seriously wrong, and maybe this is an October surprise for the Republicans. It'll be interesting to see. Democrats might still invoke the 25th Amendment to make Harris president. Well, that's probably a last-ditch effort for them to try and get a second Harris honeymoon period if she's doing terrible in the polls in September. Now, the reason I believe they didn't do the 25th immediately with Biden, it's probably a twofold. They probably made a deal with Biden because, remember, the Party of Democracy, their primaries have not been Democratic the last 3 times. You've got Bernie Sanders admitting that they ganged up on him. They took him out in 2016 with all of the money, all of the support behind Hillary. It was completely biased, and then in 2020, they told everyone drop out and support Biden on that Super Tuesday. It was crazy after it to try and, basically form a mountain against Bernie and form all the vote against him, and they won that. Say what you want about Trump, but he's faced big-time donors in 2024, first with Ron DeSantis getting $160 million. Ron DeSantis at one point was the favorite to be the president before the Republican primary because he had a better approval rating than both Biden and Trump by a lot. Trump beats him. Then they shift all their donor money to Nikki Haley. Trump easily beats her. You've got 2016 Ted Cruz, Rubio, Ben Carson. Originally it was Jeb. All of the donor money there. So, I mean, Trump is winning his primaries just because people like him more. The way the Democrats do it is completely different, and they say they're fighting for democracy. They don't even practice what they preach within their own party. And so it's very important that people understand that. And Biden even came out and said, I mean, part of the reason I think they didn't have Biden immediately step down, it was probably a deal. They probably said, listen, remember Nancy Pelosi, came out today that she was threatening Biden with bad internal polling data, which I'm guessing was probably not even done properly. The Democrats probably had internal polling data that they made to where the way they sampled it was pro-Trump, because with internal data, you really don't have to release how you got the numbers. Remember when they released it and it said Trump was up in New Jersey, New Mexico? I mean, honestly, those were probably erroneous numbers because they wanted Biden out that bad and they wanted to pressure and turn the general Democratic public against Biden. And that's how bad and vicious it got. And so they probably made a deal with Biden. They said, all right, we're not going to get you out immediately. We're not going to 25th Amendment you. We're not going to force you to step down. You can have your dignity. You can serve until the end. And then another reason why they probably did that is because it makes it easier for Harris to detach herself from that campaign. Although it's ridiculous, it is Biden-Harris. That's the campaign. So, and that's what I've been saying and what all the Republicans have been saying when she tries to say, we know what's going on right now is really bad. We blame it on the pandemic. It's horrible. That's why now liberals say, yes, Trump was better than Biden, but the only reason he was better was because of the pandemic, when really Trump got screwed by the pandemic because Trump had an amazing economy. His approval rating was going up significantly in late 2019, early 2020, and then he has to shut the country down for like 7 or 8 months before the election. It's the worst possible scenario. And now the left is like, yeah, we admit Trump had a better administration than Biden, but it's just because of the economy. And of course, you look at what Trump was dealing with, all of the peace compared to where we are now with how unstable everything is. The inflation is horrible. They blame, obviously, the pandemic on that. But overall, Trump was significantly better than Biden. And even they admit it with their actions by saying, Joe, you're so bad, we have to remove you. We have to threaten to remove you. You are the incumbent. Normally that never happens ever. But you're so terrible and you're getting crushed by Trump. We're going to start making up internal polls and leaking them. They say they love democracy. This is completely illegal. And now will they do it again here and force Biden out with the 25th? I don't think so, unless they're really going for another Kamala honeymoon. Although I'm not sure how that dynamic works where she becomes the president. Does that give her another honeymoon period? I would think not, but who really knows? It would certainly shake it up a little bit. I mean, at this point, several times in my videos, I've seen myself like not even refer to Biden as the current president because he's so much in the background at this point, and it's just a symbolic thing. I truly think they made a deal with him. They said, you can keep your dignity. We're not going to take you out, but it's like he's symbolically, it's like he's retired, but he technically still has the title of being the president, but everybody knows it's totally ridiculous. And that's why I think you see Biden, they just let him do whatever he wants now. There's no really obligation for him to be at the White House. He's constantly at his vacation home. He'll do like one interview a week, and everyone's cool with it because they just don't view him as the president at this point. That's how much of a train wreck this administration is. They can't get through 4 years, and people don't even, I mean, it's just a symbolic thing that he's the president at this point. We also do have these crazy numbers from CBS. And listen, you can say what you want about, well, Harris is up by 4 in Michigan and up by 3 in Pennsylvania and all that. If these exit poll numbers hold like this, there's no way Trump is losing this election. You've got the economy. Who do you trust more? Trump 56%, inflation, Trump 61%. The border obviously is going to be Trump by 3/4 there. And that's why Kamala and the Democrats, their strategy is to try and be badasses and very like hard asses on the border. And some liberal people are pissed off about that because normally Democrats, they play both sides. They say we want a strong border, but we have to let people come in. They're really not doing that, and that's a strategy because a lot of Americans, many independents, believe that the border is a major problem right now and it's totally out of control. So the Democrats are forced to say, we're going to play ball and be very tough on it. We're not going to do our sappy love thing where we say we got to let women and children come in, which of course is not how it's happening. We've seen the recent numbers, 77%. These are military-aged men. Look at what's happening in the UK. You wonder why they're infighting. Those are not women and children infighting with British people. Those are military-aged men that are being let into the country, and their own leadership is failing them. And then the worst part of that situation that's happening in Europe is the government is siding with the immigrants over the natural-born citizens, which is a total nightmare. I'm not saying that's going to completely happen here where it decays that much because it's a little bit different here with the rights that we have, but it is a big problem. And so that's why the number with the border is just so reflective of where we're at right now and why they're forced to, they meaning the left, They're forced to try and put on this token, we care, but they're still saying they're going to give amnesty to everyone. That's what Trump needs to talk about. How does that border policy make sense? You're giving all amnesty to all the illegals, but you want to stop the illegal immigration. How does that make sense? If you want to stop the illegal immigration, why would you reward the illegals that are already in the country? That doesn't, it's just ridiculous. It's counterintuitive. Trump needs to hit him on that. We also do have other stuff, more stuff coming out. Fox News poll, trust to do a better job on crime. That's actually a good number for Harris, 46%. A lot of that is because of the Democrat narrative that crime is down. Well, no, it's not down. The Biden administration changed the laws to where precincts don't have to report their crime depending on the degree of it, and that's why over 3,000 districts have not reported on crime because they don't have to, and then they say the crime's down. No, they're just not reporting on it. And then on top of that, we don't even need to look at statistics or look at some type of thing that they've implemented to try and show that they're getting crime under control. We can just look at California and other states where you can legally go in, steal a bunch of crap, and then walk out. Now, I haven't seen much of that recently. I do think Newsom, he is trying to clean up California a little bit. I think that's mainly probably coming from the DNC, where they're like, listen, you're so bad at being a leader that we are going to lose like 4 more electoral votes if you stay on this path. You have to somehow get this homeless problem cleaned up or do something because it's getting really bad. It's funny, Newsom, the huge shift where he basically laughed in Americans' faces like 4 or 5 months ago when he had all the communist Chinese come in and he said, yeah, I admit we're cleaning up the streets for the commies, and then when they leave, we're gonna let it be a shit show again. We don't care. That's what Newsom said. It's not a direct quote, but go see what he said. And now they've done a 180 on it. It's because the Democrats have told them, this is pathetic. We're going to lose 4 more electoral votes because nobody wants to live in your state because you're so bad. So you need to do something. And that's why I think he started to clean it up. But this stuff, again, border security, Trump at 60%, immigration. I mean, Trump should be higher than this, man. He really should. This is, 1,100 people, but my God, how do you trust? How is there a 42% trust rating on this current administration, the Biden and Harris administration? It makes no sense. Same thing with economy and the amount of inflation that we've been dealing with. We've got Josh Shapiro not campaigning with Kamala today due to scheduling. Another coup is coming. Yeah, I don't think so. Although it did say that, I mean, it's been confirmed now. Tim Walz was basically unvetted, and the reason that they chose him, because remember, Walz had like a 2% chance in terms of betting, and I remember somebody saying on one of my live streams, they were like, who even is Walz? Because nobody really knew. They didn't even vet him, and they picked him mainly because it's come out. The reason is because Josh Shapiro is Jewish. Like, that is the reason. I'm just being honest. You can take that for what it is, but that's the reason. Because you would think with Shapiro, Pennsylvania, huge state, 60% approval rating, biggest state in the election, it seems like such an obvious fit. He's the white dude, that would go well. And now with Walz, I mean, you see Walz going around. He's literally doing the communist bow at some of these rallies. He's totally deranged. And he's the stupid white guy that kind of waltzes around and just screams at everyone and tries to hype people up. So it was obviously a terrible pick for her, but the situation with Shapiro and how he wasn't picked, I mean, it is pretty crazy. We've got multiple police officers coming forward and saying that Kamala is 100% intoxicated in this clip, and she would have been charged with a DUI if she was behind the wheel of a car.
When we think about the strength of our democracy, I think that there's a duality to the nature of democracy. When it's intact, it's so strong in terms of what it does to uphold and protect individual rights and freedoms. So strong in its nature. And it is very fragile. It will only be as strong as our willingness to.
Well, that was her with Biden. I wonder what year that was, maybe 2022, 2023. We've got Trump tweeting out a little AI, the DNC in Chicago, the Soviet Union. Trump doing very well on TikTok, too. All the numbers, when you compare him to Kamala HQ, the main Harris campaign TikTok, Trump's doing way better, which is surprising, you would think, considering all of the younger people being liberal and things like that and being on TikTok, yet Trump does better. It is kind of an interesting trend. Not that it matters a ton, but either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.